Howdy YouTube, I'm Oof Almighty, and I've been a fan of the Total War Warhammer series for a little over 5 minutes now. And with the news that purchasers of the latest edition of White Dwarf magazine will receive a Steam key for the Warhammer 1 called the Beastmen DLC, many believe that the last DLC for Warhammer 2, we can expect to see the Children of Chaos get a long-awaited facelift. And trust me, they need it. So today, I'll be attempting to workshop a potential Beastmen Legendary Lords faction effects and mechanics in a patent-pending format that I'm calling Lordshops. But before we can do that, let's dive into the lore and history on the tabletop of Ghorros Warhoof, Sire of 1,000 Young. As one might infer from his title, Ghorros has spent his centuries-long lifespan drinking, destroying, and demonetizing nearly every second of the day. He lives for the thrill and doesn't let anyone forget it. Kind of like that one relative you only see on the holidays and won't stop chewing your ear long enough for you to grab a slice of pie. One of Ghorros' many drunken boasts is that he's the father of the entire Centaur race. A dubious claim, but no one really wants to tell the angry drunk that he's full of it, and if you've seen his lifestyle choices firsthand, it might actually be true. We're not going to get into how small the Beastman gene pool is today, but no one can really deny that Centaurs hold Ghorros in high regard. Whether that is due to respect or a need for fatherly approval is up for debate. On the tabletop, Ghorros didn't have any mounts, for battle purposes at least, given that he is a Centaur and can move it wherever he damn pleases. Though he does have two items. The first, a great club called Man-Smasher, known for being blessed by dozens of Bray shamans and bathing in the blood of ancient dynasties. It likely got its name for a specific reason that I'll leave you to ponder. Ghorros' other item is the Skull of the Unicorn Lord. If this is the first you've heard of Arsil, the Prince of Unicorns, you have Ghorros to thank for that, because though the Warhoof bloodline is very long, the Unicorn Royalty's bloodline is much shorter now that Ghorros wears the prince's skull as a helmet. In-game, Ghorros Warhoof would bring a focus to Centaurs, a set of units included in the original Call of the Beastmen DLC. Beastmen are a race that's meant to hit hard and hit fast, and that's the exact playstyle that Ghorros would excel at. For picking the Warherd of the Warhoof at the faction select screen, you can expect reduced upkeep cost and recruitment duration for Centaurs, as well as increased movement speed faction-wide to give his armies an extra get up and go that the Beastmen need to skirmish. Now for his personal retinue, Ghorros' army would get bonus campaign movement range, extra charge bonus for Centaurs, and lastly a bonus to growth for his horde army, because Ghorros likes that personal touch when it comes to growing his herd. Now for his unique faction effect, I imagine something based off of his drunken mechanic from tabletop. On each turn, a player rolled a d6, and if they got 1 to 3, Ghorros would get extra charge damage, and if they got 4 to 6, you could reroll any 1s when trying to attack. The way I see this working in Total War Warhammer is by winning battles or raising settlements, you could get a resource called Brew. Brew could be spent on the lord of any army you have to give that army extra melee attack, charge bonus, and leadership for a few turns. This bonus could then be renewed on the turn it expires to keep the party going. For a small amount of Brew, the bonuses would be small in kind, but at any point you can spend an even greater amount of Brew to get a greater level of buffs and an additional ward save. However, once you've reached the greater level, you'd have to keep it going or risk the hangover if you stop providing Brew. The hangover would only last a few turns, but it would debuff melee defense, speed, and leadership and put your army in a bad position, and force you to recuperate until the debuff wears off. So in short, if you party hard, you hit hard, but you get smacked right back once it's done. Other skills Ghorros could get later down the line would be bonus growth faction-wide, reduced hangover time for his army, and providing extra speed, charge bonus, and perfect vigor to himself and Centaurs in his army. For his items, the Skull of the Unicorn Lord is said to protect Ghorros from magic, so I imagine it would provide magical resistance and charges of a bound Amber Spear spell from the lore of beasts. Man-Smasher would be fairly straightforward, giving extra melee attack and armor piercing, and giving Ghorros the fear attribute when fighting men. With all the faction bonuses put together, the Warherd of Warhoof would be a fast and hard-hitting faction more than any other Beastmen army, turning all Centaurs in Ghorros' army into shock cavalry. The drunken mechanic would even play into the general Beastman playstyle of raising settlements, giving you a resource that helps you continue and plan for larger assaults. Include a Bray Shaman of the Wild, with a passive bonus to charge and vigor map-wide while casting, and your entire army can outflank the enemy and make sure they stay down after the first charge. I think Ghorros would be a fun lord to play as in the Total War Warhammer series, and would make for a great free DLC or bonus lord if the next DLC for Warhammer 2 gives a bonus for owning the Call of the Beastmen DLC like the Twisted and the Twilight did. But hey, these are just my thoughts and opinions, and I'd love to hear all of yours in the comments below. That's it for the video today. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, feel free to like or subscribe. Or don't, I'm not your real dad. I hope you all have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video where I talk about why crop circles are real.